Morning to all of you. Very good morning. And this is Nifty for yesterday. Straight one-sided down move. And according to our homework yesterday, we had only stocks that were like, we did not have a single stock on our bearish list. Some days we have, on a bullish list. Some days we have full of stocks on our bullish list. We have a lot of stocks, but yesterday not a single stock. Only bearish stocks. The important thing you can take away from here, these sessions are of course a discussion about how a professional trader should trade or prepare for the market. These discussions, what we do over here, I post them on YouTube later for everybody so they can learn. And all those people who are listening, listen carefully. The big takeaway you can really take from sessions like these, if you look at 10 videos, 20 videos, all of these videos which I post, all those people who are here present, who are a part of the 7 a.m. club, I can give you one big takeaway, which is a common denominator in all our sessions. You will never see me anticipate. I will not anticipating. Now it feels because, sir, you are a technical analyst. You are not saying you will predict. You will only participate. Like, yes. The most important part for a trader is to be flexible. I have mentioned this time in class. Some of the trades, in fact, a lot of my biggest trades is something I don't even know when it is coming. Like, I did not know yesterday is going to be such a big move, but I had certain levels marked. Yesterday, after what we did as a classwork preparation, as a homework preparation before market hours, we saw that a lot of stocks were pointing more towards the downside compared to any other situation. So the breadth is having a downward, is poised on the downward direction. The market breadth, the most of the stocks are participating anyway negatively. And some of these stocks which we discussed, like Lupin, multiple support zone. To yesterday morning, these stocks, Lupin, Maruti, we discussed. They were like, and I said, movements are unique, even though lower wick is there. Look at the price structure. Bajaj Auto, we discussed. These were like free money out there if you had done your preparation. And it's not just important to do preparation, it's important to act on it. Some of you have acted on it, some of you have not. And it's individual. It's not necessary that you have to be prepared and you have to be always right. But the point I'm putting across over here, this is Bajaj Auto. This is, Maruti, Lupin. What were our other top stocks? Pidilite, Berger Paints. Berger Paints gave an intraday pullback. That was also worth going back on short. Morning pullback it was. Same for Pidilite, more of the volatile stocks. Now, what I'm trying to say over here is whenever you're doing your preparation, you are giving yourself a mental exercise to become more open towards your, or flexibility. The more open you are to market can do this, but it can do this also. the more power you have, because the market loses the ability to surprise you. Well, I'm very strongly believing that market should go up, market should go down. A lot of reason why I'm talking all these things today is because today is not really a very good day to prepare unless you want to trade on the extremes. But we will talk about certain stocks. We need to let the market settle down. So the important point over here, and listen to this very carefully, is that this is a mental exercise for you to exercise flexibility, the most important aspect and of the skill of trading. If you hold on to the fact, okay, market should be bullish. I'm bullish on the markets. And next day morning market is bearish. Or if you hold on, the market should not be so bearish and the market ends up being bearish. If you hold on to your views too tight, market will surprise you before you take a trade. Because if you look at it, and I don't know why we don't think, we just think in terms of up or down. But because our mind is wired in a way where we perceive something in an environment only as much, you will perceive something in an environment only as much as it is a part of you. So if you look at somebody and says, I don't like so and so thing about this guy or this girl, you will perceive that because some part of that quality is inside you, maybe unconsciously, subconsciously. Similarly, when you look at the market, you only want to see by what is your view of the market. And that is why a lot of changes happen. Two changes happen because people do the course and they start performing because number one, they change psychologically. It's a transformational learning. Number two, the practice opens your mind up. This is what experience and practice is about. It's not about just making money in the markets. It's about opening your mind up to different phases and different situations. So you end up opening your mind up. And when you open, you realize that if you hold on the beliefs too much, the belief, if you hold on for it too much, then what happens? Market is continuously proving you right or wrong. And if you look at it, to some extent, you can say market will go up or down. Either of the two things can happen. What else can happen? What are you saying? Be flexible. No, market can be moving, unfolding in infinite number of ways. Virtually, if you look at it, there's virtually infinite number of ways the market can unfold during a day. And you have to add on the variables one after the other. Then you will come in a certain alignment. Right? Shishti saying, well, sir, he who into estimate. Are you saying Hiromoto? HOENTO. What is that word? Estimated the size of downfall. Okay, okay. How to estimate the size of the downfall? There was a big gap down and assume that it was enough and established for a while at 950, but then it took another dip. So you were just in the previous batch, and yes, you have gone a long way, and now you maybe these little things can bother one person. How do I do this? I didn't really anticipate such a big move. But look at each and every level that we have drawn. That is the level of the market with utmost accuracy. There was a resting upon this level. There's a small bounce. What is the dominant trend over here? The moment you see such a big gap down with such strong breadth of the market, what is the dominant thing? Bearish. Okay, you don't go against the trend. until you see something very like a proper reversal pattern. And then what happens after 2 3 candles? It's breaking the support, it's testing it, it's breaking it. It's just plain vanilla support resistance. Look at the 15-minute chart or the 30-minute chart. Same thing. Now, when there is such a strong momentum, it doesn't have to be that you have to take a trade on this particular Nifty only. There are so many stocks which did continue after a strong fall, and they were already breaking their supports in the morning. Already breaking their supports in the morning. So, fine, markets tend to move in extremes. They tend to never be like a one-sided thing. In terms of not, I'm sorry, they do not always have to be a symmetrical thing, and that is what causes the volatility to arise. If there is volatility, if there is volatility that is come out, and maybe and that is one reason again why you look at a lot of stocks and say, okay, fine, I don't know that, okay, how do I anticipate how strong the move will be for intraday? Fine, I completely understand what you're trying to say. You are absolutely right. And that is why, as a technical trader, you have to follow the trend. This is the difference between a technical analyst and a technical trader. An analyst wants to be right, a trader wants to make money. And then you slowly scale out of your position and follow the trend. This is the basic principle. Each of these basic principles, one second. Each of these basic principles are going to be important, right? If you don't want to buy at the money puts, how far can I buy? Will the support be breached? Now the thing is, that is a decision one has to take in terms of not necessarily, you don't have to run into rush into anything, but you can wait for the market to let you determine. Say for example, you're trading Nifty. Give me a simple example. And what have you understood? Few things or indicators, and you establish a 15-minute chart. This is a 15-minute chart of Nifty. There is a strong move, the RSI is breaching the 20 zone, that is, it is in the bearish undertone, and there's a pullback all the way towards 40. And this first strong move down is an indication of the bearish undertone. Then there is a Bollinger Band. What do you see? There's an entire candle around, so under the lower band. We have done these small things. You establish things around your momentum, around volatility, and then get a feel which is a little bit more objective in terms of if somebody is not being able to perceive at that time. Most importantly, if I hide these tools, hide these studies, one second. Uh, Most importantly, if I take a support zone, and we have taken this support zone as a zone which was important so many times this area has been important, valid area, valid interaction zone. and then a strong fall has come when it has breached it. So it's a classical thing. Maybe you can say, I did not get the entire move. I went short over here, I went short over here, I went short over here. I did not get the entire move. Maybe you scale out of half your position and then let some ride. Let some ride. And it's okay if you didn't get the entire move. The point is, did you perceive the market in accordance to your variables or not? That's going to be something very important for you to understand. Okay. I hope you got my answer. So it is not just about which option, it is about if you are putting the stop loss in the right time, and if you perceive the trend, you see it like a story. And this is why I am absolutely, against the fact that one should come and say, buy this, target this, stop loss this, sell this, target this, stop loss this. Those things do not really give you the real picture of trading, and they are not the way one should trade. Sometimes you can be wrong. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes you can also be correct once and then later the market changes its direction. That is also completely fine. But the point is, to as much as your objective understanding of the market. So, say for example, you say that my objective understanding of the market is this, and the market is giving moves so many, and this is your objective understanding of the market. So out of so many moves, you can actually pick up these, and most of the big moves, or which are the bigger, clearer moves, some part of it falls under this. If there is so much point move in Nifty, it is almost impossible that it will not fall under this. But have you identified the market movement objectively? If you have, then you will not have a problem acting on it. And all those things myself used to say, the way somebody says, so, I could have done this. I should have done this. But the could have and the should have. Delete, control, no, what is that? Shift plus delete. Your entire trading dictionary. Your I should have and could have is dictionary. Should not be in your dictionary. Some words should just be let out of your life, and especially trading. If you could have, you would have. That is a, and there's nothing to beat yourself about it. It is a direction towards this thing is pointing. I say always, you should always take yourself objectively, not be too self-critical. There is a direction towards which your emotions are pointing. So if you feel like, oh, I should have done this, maybe I could have done this, that is pointing towards a direction. Listen to that and work on what needs to be done. All right. So I have a small, relatively list of stocks today. Mostly, a discussion towards some key aspects. Number one, the breadth was strongly down, and the market fell in the first hour. It fell and came over here, and this is why half knowledge can be fatal. You need, you need more variables. You can't trade on the basis of one variable. So if somebody buys over here thinking that because it's a support zone, no, it will not be taking a support for very long. Breadth is strong, momentum is strong on Nifty. The trend is obviously very strong because there is a powerful gap down. And then you see a small pullback during the midday, and then further fall down. The key aspects can be noted when a strong moves. Certain indicators are inevitably going to be capturing those things. Also, and that is why I say, there are certain specific times you should look at the indicator. If you look at RSI on this day, not really going to give you anything. Maybe later with some divergences, yes. If you look at a Bollinger Band over here, not going to give you anything. But when there are certain times and phases which we have learned, which I have taught you in class, that time you can make wise use of these indicators. I do that. You will never see me easily putting chart indicators on my homework. Two reasons. One, I don't want to overthink and confuse myself. Second, I don't want to I want to give chart enough space on my screen. I don't want to have it full of indicators. That is the thing. Okay. And point number third, developing a feel for the market. And when I say feel for the market, we all get feel from the market. There's nobody in the world who does not feel anything when it comes to the market. But yeah, you have to reach that level where you actually feel just objectively and nothing else. So when I say feel for the market, I really mean objectively have a feel for the market. Objectively. Market starts doing something you didn't anticipate, for example. Then it should not shake you from inside, that like it's not threatening your belief that it shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. It should be so objective that it is information. What the market is doing is information. As a technical analyst, as a technical trader, any market price movement is as much information as much as it is a result of a anticipated thing, right? So keep these things in mind. So let's have a look at this SGX first, see how the morning is likely to be. You see, we broke these areas after the midday, and we have come down significantly. Extreme move on the downside, and then last night, we came down further and consolidated. Now we're going back up. So all of this, which is happening right now, by the time market opens, and when there is such a strong up move in the morning, generally it does not really come down so quickly. But given how the candle has been, the big red candle, we never know. Second point is that this area over which it came last night was somewhere around the 750 mark, which is exactly 11,750 is exactly the zone where the breakout and gap has started, the opening side of the breakout gap. So which are the important interaction zones right now? The breakout gap, opening and closing. Also on the daily chart, we have marked out this point where the exact low was made, and this has been marked out from many days. This 11,000, 800 and 813.4. This has been marked. This pink line has been an established interaction zone for a long time, and those who, all of us know how to find out interaction zones, know that this is a category interaction zone of a strong support zone, right? Obviously, when there's such a strong fall, the market has not taken so much time to develop a structure. And this is something where again and again say, when there is a lack of structure, lack of accumulation or distribution, obviously it's like a tall tree, but no strong roots, so the tree can fall. Similarly, obviously market doesn't get a lot of time to develop a structure. And now, given the fact of such strong breadth, etc., maybe we are going to develop some structure. We are likely to develop that structure, or at least not have falls until we start sustaining below these levels. So in order to develop the structure, some things can happen. Like SGX is also indicating that there can be a pullback. Now, if there is a pullback, the resistance zones are pretty much in front of us. In case there's a pullback. Now, depending on the strength of the pullback, okay, I mean, market can have the element of surprise. So depending on the strength of pullback, You need to wait and watch how the first 15 minutes, the first hour is happening. Because the more maximum action is at that time. A lot of action increases because a lot of people are participating at that time, putting on positions in the first hour of the market. So when you're putting on positions and you're influencing the price on certain days, there can be, bulls and bears balance. There can be some confusion kind of thing. So the market likely to gap up. Okay. When it's likely to gap up, we understand the levels. But if this gap up becomes something super duper strong, something obnoxiously strong, now the reasons why it can be very strong, because the breakout zone is being tested or has been tested overnight. This is one reason it can be something a little stronger than one could think looking at this green red candle. Because candlesticks are not just about these dancing lines. It's about a holistic analysis. Candlesticks are just an input. So if the breakout zone is being tested, there's a gap up. Then we go for three scenarios, and these are the possible three scenarios. One can be that everything turns around, everything is bullish, everything just turns, the picture turns. I know that the stories around the coronavirus and is very saddening. It's not really good for the economy either. And obviously, a very sad thing. Um, but but there are measures being taken. There are certain things which can. Market is all about perception. When people mass psychology starts becoming bullish, sometimes everything starts looking bullish. Everything starts looking more settled in the economy and everything else also. So, when the sentiment changes happen, many times these are actually not anticipated. The second thing is that we'll continually keep going down. The second scenario, we have marked out certain points for that. And we need to mark out the times when that happens. It's likely that a lot of stocks will need to settle down first. But when that happens, a lot of stocks will start breaking their lows. Like for example, the stock ECC. It is right at a support zone, an old support zone. So I'm going to look at the 1400 levels for ACC, how it is going to act when it comes there. Yesterday we were discussing in a preparation session how the 11,940 area, how will the market react when it comes there? Important input was there, right? So keeping these things in mind is going to be important. Sorry for the noise. Okay. Then where is the sound coming from? Which window? So silent in the morning. Sorry. Then we've got Adani Power because again it's come very close to a support zone. We have to see how it acts. A lot of stocks have done that. There's sort of a distribution pattern in place, but since the long-term trend is very very strong, unless the breakout is happening significantly, I'm not anticipating anything. Okay. Ashok Leyland we were discussing, but really, since the market scenario until now is pretty bearish, not going to be very aggressive on the bullish end, but yes, we will be talking about it, if something significant happens. One more, I forgot to mention this. One more indicator, I forgot to take it up yesterday also, but we took it 2 days, 3 days back. One strong indication also is coming from the USD INR. So this is USD INR on the daily, and we took it up. We had taken this on this day, I guess 3 days back or so, and we are at the brink of a very long-term resistance zone. We have to keep an eye out on how this happens. Now, I'm not going to into the intermarket implications of it on you know um, on the intermarket implication of IT sector or anything, but at least those who trade currency markets, it should have this on the radar. Even if you don't trade, should have this on your radar. Important asset class. Then we got banks like Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda. All of them are now going to likely to make, very strongly likely to make, strong new lows. So we've got the PSU sector. Let's check out some other banks. PSU sector, Canara Bank. All these we've discussed. Now they have, like Canara Bank has made a new low altogether. So many of these PSU banks, okay, are not really pointing strongly towards the upside. They are more towards the downside. Federal Bank has given a pullback and yesterday was distributing. Let's see if that proves to be, since it might fall from these areas. Federal Bank, okay. Bank Nifty, a little bit of mixed bag because Bank Nifty needs to settle down a bit more. But in case the banks drag it absolutely like a strong gap down or something can happen. Now, looking at the SGX, it's not really likely markets should open anywhere very bearish or something. It's done the down move, it's touched the support, start going up, but we need the market to do some digestion of gains also. So when the market does some digestion of gains, we can see a mixed bag happening in stocks. Bata is one stock again which has come to a support zone. So there's been like a strong movement on the downward direction, and out of certain consolidation which was a pullback. So if this is a pullback and a new low has been made, there can be a tendency for it to extend. So we look for patterns in intraday that are going to be, for Bata. Bosch is one stock. It gave a strong down move, and there was like a 4-day candlestick cluster over here. After this cluster, this strong down moves there. So any kind of that one should look for sell signal or selling pattern like that. Many of these PSUs which we have already discussed on the downside likely, a lot of stocks are pointing towards the downward direction. So when the market is the market is likely to gap up, maybe we see that can not sustain so strong. The breadth is directly telling me that if there is such strong momentum, less likely that market can sort of continue very up, straightforward go up. Less likely. I mean, except for if some stocks particularly take it towards one direction, and they become the harbingers of strong movement. Hero Moto. This is not a small move. This is a big move. This is a big move. Look at the weekly chart, full of new lows being made, and we have just broken, a very strong zone. We have been bearish on, Hero Moto, And there is so much to look from the bearish angle on Hero Moto. Well, Hero Moto is one of my top bearish picks. Top bearish picks. Okay, some steel sector stocks not been seeing recently, but yeah, they've been downtrending, but even more so. Yesterday, these steel sector stocks in they're touching their short-term lows, or they're going to break them widely. What I don't know, but there have been strong down moves on certain, uh, you know, steel stocks. This what I'm doing right now. I mean, maybe we don't have fresh analysis, fresh movement, but we do have a strong idea about this market breadth right now. Where can we find some strong movements? Maybe something like an Infosys. I see that on the daily candle there is a shooting star pattern. Now, obviously, it has been a constant uptrend, and Infosys has a way of moving. Just the nature of the stock has become like that. That it doesn't really move, give one-sided move so much. It's been consolidating, moving higher, lower, and this is representing also a lower volatility. This is market going up, but going without volatility, something going up, and that too without volatility. This doesn't smell very super bullish. It can be a trend which is bullish, can be intraday or short-term move that is bullish. So this is a shooting star. This is a cue. Other IT sector stocks we look at TCS started going bang down. Now there is an essence of a wedge pattern over here. Essence of a wedge pattern. I hope all of you can identify it. And there's a trend line breakout. Wedge pattern in the sense on the daily chart, the slow upward movement and the breakout, the throwback, full of down moves. We didn't take this up 1 or 2 days, but there are already so many stocks we take up. Sometimes we miss out. But I did have this on my radar. One stock I traded recently. So, this is going to be an important criteria. Even other IT stocks, not taking up all of them. I have got some major bear moves which were going on. They continue to be so, like ITC. Slightly slowed down compared to the momentum over here, but still strongly poised overall. So we take up stocks like ITC. A lot of these steel stocks have given so much gains given up. People were talking wildly about JSW Steel, JSW. I don't know if I tell this in some class on the weekend or did I tell it over here. There's so much talk everywhere going about JSW Steel. So one needs to just, calm down. Maybe there's some heat going on. Did I say it in this class? Or did I say it in one of my weekend technically sorted sessions? Anyway, so this heat going on, right? And the heat has cooled off completely now. Let market settle down. One big stock which we discussed few days back, big bear, big support zone broken successfully. LIC Housing Finance. We discussed it when it was around 360s, 365 or something here, somewhere here it was 367. Yeah. Now we are likely to see thumping down moves. These are strong. Just look at the wave counts. Look at the wave counts that could possibly be. Okay. Now these long-term ABCs and this particularly is showing us gap. Very likely that there's a new impulse started. One second. Over here, These pullbacks are just subwaves of a very down, sharp down move. Subwaves. So LIC housing, big time on my radar for the shorts, for the bearish movements. I'm just being logical over here. Let's take only those, even if market has to be a little dicey, be in the places where there is strength. LNT, where till a long time not being able to wrap around why people were well bullish on it. At one point, I was like, okay, fine, maybe we're breaking some short-term resistances. But again, the weekly chart dominates. And after a strong, consolidation, started going down. Again, tested its support yesterday. And now, if we break these levels, even more downside could likely be. LNT, LIC Housing, IDC, some stocks on my radar that are like just there from a bearish angle. So let's make a list. Help me with some stocks which I mentioned about. PSU banks. Yes, thank you. Anybody else? So we have ACC. Okay, we have got stocks like Maruti, which although were there on our radar yesterday, there can be follow throughs. So one wants to keep stocks where there's a chance of follow throughs. I know the SDX is up and I'm talking some bearish stuff, but I'm just saying what I'm seeing on the chart. So just being selective on, the particular charts that I'm looking at. Bajaj Auto again, which we discussed yesterday, strong down move. So maybe follow through comes and then some sideways movement happens and then a follow through comes. It doesn't matter. Overall, there is a strong red candle with volumes and all the structure has been taken down with a lot of vigor. So that is bearish in nature. Now, obviously, we look for intraday trends. We're not in a hurry to actually uh, go and enter a trade. So we're going to look for intraday movements that will be poising towards the down move. So Bajaj, and since we're talking about auto sector, Hero. When such sectors have broken down wildly, then this is going to be useful not just for today. In case the market becomes very bearish in the next few weeks, you see some sector like a cyclical sector is bearish. So you have to be very uh, open to the idea that markets can be tricky and very bearish in the next few days. If that situation occurs, be ready to capitalize. Be ready to capitalize. But we are getting those, cues from everywhere. Make sense? What I'm trying to say? Everybody with me on this? Everybody with me on this? Any questions? Anything you want to add on? Anything you want to ask? Most of the days I don't have to ask. There's so many messages, and I say I cannot concentrate, so I'll read the messages later. I do that. But today I see no inputs, no messages. So what's up? A lot of things around coronavirus has been spoken. Now, practically speaking, I always keep technical analysis in front. Yes, because the price mechanism is price mechanism. Even if the news is bearish, unfolding is likely to happen with the certain structure in price. Now, the tricky part is that we need to keep in mind, just as a general knowledge, what is going to be news going on. Just look at that Vedanta. As I said, steel stocks suddenly given away a lot of things. What I'm saying is that a country like China, one of the biggest economies and one of the economies that is strongly uh, strongly poised to be a backbone to a lot of other industries. Backbone to a lot of other industries. This economy is supplying a lot of things to the world. There's a lot of business going on. Number two, the virus is spreading throughout other countries, and news is coming out every day, breaking every day of virus in this country, that country. And we must remember we are not geographically too far from China. It's sad that if something were to happen, it's sad that it's anyway happening. So we have a lot of Indian companies who get a lot of product parts made in China. And when you have cities shut down, when you have no flights coming in or business shut down, no person coming in, it's a hell lot of break to the business. When these countries are facing issues, not just China, others also, the rise of expenses on healthcare, the disturbance in the growth, etc., etc. It's just like when you are okay. So let me take an example. Today, few people have only interacted. So say, let's take examples. Srishti is there. So suppose she says, I am doing very well with the markets, but then आपको 2 दिन बुखार हो जाए. Okay, any of you face this situation? Not saying you, I don't wish this, but say for example, Arpit says कि I'm in full form. हो गया मुझे 1 दिन बुखार. I miss to trade the markets, but I was just watching and I gathered perspective that helped me the next day. So similarly, the economy is going to miss out on some things. And this is how the market takes into action whatever there is sentiment going on versus whatever perspective gets deepened by a sentiment. So the market will be emotional in nature as it is showing all over the world. Just have a look at the US 30, the Dow Live, Dow Futures Live. Later, if this extreme has to create the other extreme, it could. This is the Dow Futures Live, strongly bearish. Just look at the way market fell yesterday. Okay. So, this was my analysis. This was my analysis. This is my preparation. I'm open to whatever the market is going to tell me. If the market tells me, I am completely turning around happening one day, completely turning around. It cannot happen, practically cannot happen without a good breadth in the market. Less likely kind of situation. Keep those things in mind. Although also volatility will be very high. So don't sell naked options or anything except for intraday with a stop loss. All right. So guys, this was the preparation for today. Take care of your health, take care of your food, take care of your okay. Have a great day ahead. I will see you tomorrow again. Once again, good morning and thank you all. Take care. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, Prashantji. And one good news which I'm sharing in the inner circle group today. So wait for my message then. Thank you. Goodbye. And in